Well, Caroline can join us now. I'm delighted to say, Caroline Parker, Sell Before We Die campaign. Caroline, good evening to you.
Good evening, both of you. How are you?
Well, we're very well. It started yesterday, obviously, with tennis balls after 3 minutes, and then it wasn't long, it was about the 16th minute, that fans decided to take matters into their own hands and to go onto the pitch. Now, we can see some of the... Talk us through this bit of the video.
OK, so I think originally Sell Before We Die had put out a statement on social media to say that we would encourage fans to sit in the centre circle at full time. We always knew there would be a risk that fans would go onto the pitch before full time. 16th minute has been very symbolic for us because we've had 16 points deducted in a lot of the games. That's where we've triggered action with the balls and things. So, yeah, what you're seeing now is the 16th minute and thousands of fans entering the field of play because they're desperate and they don't actually know what to do next. And we need the football world to listen. We need the national media to be picking this up. And unfortunately, sometimes you have to take drastic measures for that to happen. And that's what you saw yesterday.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with some of the media these days as well, they're more interested in keeping their deals to broadcast and everything rather than have any ideals about what is happening lower down the pyramid. And as you say with Reading there, you've just tried absolutely everything, from a man who's not paid taxes, from a man who's not paid wages, from a man who's not told you anything properly, from a man who has real estate worth virtually between 50 and 75 million in the centre of London, to a man and a family that basically couldn't handle it, couldn't make it happen, but won't do anything about what they're doing and don't care, Caroline.
No, he doesn't care at all. He does not care in the slightest. He would happily see the club ground into the dirt, just like he did with the previous club that he owned in Belgium. Exactly the same thing there happened there, asset stripping, stopping paying the bills, and they just went bust. You know, we're hearing rumours that he is negotiating deals for players behind the director of football's back, behind the manager's back. We're hearing it's pretty much an everything must go sale at Reading FC. And let's be honest, there weren't that many assets to strip in the first place. Staff have been made redundant over Christmas. We've had whistleblowers contacting the campaign team directly, people within the club that are scared for their jobs, but they have an overwhelming need to tell us because they are scared for the future of that football club. You know, there's people that have been working there for decades. Everybody is frightened. You know, Reading fans are a moderate fan base. You don't see stuff like this in Reading. You know, people need to take that into context. What you're seeing today is quite extraordinary, what happened yesterday. You know, we just don't do things like that. That's how desperate it is. But he doesn't care. He'll happily let vultures just take whatever they can. We're sick of being lied to by the club. The communications we get either don't exist or they're completely unreliable. Fans have had enough, and all credit to the fans that did that yesterday, because do you know what? We're not going anywhere without a fight. And Dai, he won't be listening, but if you are listening, we're not going to give up and we will keep fighting until the bitter end. All we can do really now is focus our efforts on lobbying for this regulator, because the laws are supposed to be passed very soon because of the King's speech. So we've just got to lobby hard and make sure that we are top of that agenda for when that independent regulator goes live.
Yeah, I mean, you know, good luck with that, and we'll push as hard as we can. But, you know, the problem here at the moment is more than this. What, Andrew, I mean, as you know, is the Football League not embarrassed?
No. Simply. And the reason they're not is because there's very little they can do. Just before we got to Caroline, I was just about to say, the reality is that by the time that we get to the situation we're in, by the time it's got to the likes of Caroline and you know, others at other football clubs, the dam is broken, and what you can't do is you cannot shovel water back in. You just can't do it. So it does come down to, as Caroline suggests, robust regulation and something that's put in place to make a difference. And, you know, I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. However, that's not an excuse not to look for them. Yeah. And I just feel like that's what happens is we get a group of people that can make a difference. They get into a room, they realise it's really complicated to make a difference, and so they all leave, shake each other's hands and say, let's have a chat about this again in another month. But all the while, football clubs are dying, and it may be a slow death, but they're dying. I mean, this is Reading. This is. I mean, just look at, you say the scenes we're looking at. A fantastic stadium, great opportunity, a great business for God knows how many years, and it shouldn't be able to be at the whim of one person. And as Caroline's suggesting, you know, I've got friends that are inside that football club who are desperately searching. None of them desperately looking or desperately searching for their own benefit. They just want the football club to be under the ownership of you know, of whatever size and wherever they are, the ownership that actually has an interest and wants to be constructive in achieving a sustainable football club.
So nobody, obviously it's basically a private business, isn't it? I mean, nobody can be called to account. I mean, he never paid the tax that he should have done to start with, and then he thinks he got that sorted and all the other rubbish that goes with all of this. Meanwhile, asset stripping is obviously going on now in large part, Caroline, and you know, if he's just going to sell everything off, I mean, I just don't know what you don't complete the season.
I mean, there is a real fear of that. People might think we're catastrophising. We're not. We don't know what the squad will look like come the 1st of February. And they will probably be sold for peanuts. Some of our players will be going for peanuts compared to what their true market value will be. That's the problem. You know, they're not making sensible business decisions, this management team. They never have made sensible business decisions. Mark Bowen, to his credit, somehow has tried to cobble together a squad despite being under a transfer embargo for 5 years. 5 years, that's got to be an EFL record. So he sold various players, young players, just cutting their teeth, a dream that, come on, you're going to get quite a lot of pitch time. You know, Ruben's building something here, etc., etc. These players have moved their lives to come to Reading Football Club, and they're aghast at what's going on. They've took the catering away from the players. They're having to bring ready meals in for training. They've taken away overnight hotels. It's disgusting. This is absolutely, it's just abhorrent. You know, our statement yesterday said he was duplicitous and destructive, and that is bang on. That's exactly what he is. And I can't say anything stronger than that. The EFL, in their recommendation when they charged Dai the other month, they actually recommended to the independent panel that he be expelled. Now, you can't make those recommendations and then not have some sort of power to follow through. That's got to be looked at. He was supposed to deposit some money. He was supposed to deposit 125% of the wage bill into an account the other day, actually. That hasn't been done. So his fine, as I understand, is now going to be increased for failure to do that. So where's the consequence here? You know, this is what the regulator's for.
Yeah, but the other problem we've got, Andrew, will be that he won't care. He probably won't step foot back in the country when this is all gone.
No, absolutely not. I mean, again, obviously, I don't know him, but it seems to me that it's been put down as a bad business decision, and the difficulty of exactly what Caroline's suggesting there is that if you've already checked out as far as your business is concerned because it's a loss leader, it's going backwards. They can fine him as much as they want. It just goes on top of what he owes already, and he's not personally carrying the fine. The business is carrying the fine, and therein lies the problem, because then again, that penalises the business that's already struggling. And as Caroline said, there's got to be. You cannot be in under embargo for 5 years. That can't happen.
No.
Can't be allowed to happen. And I've suggested to you before. I mean, I think. Again, I don't have all the answers, but I think there has to be some annual bond. There has to be some kind of something that the club itself can claw back. If an individual wants to try and use that as a vehicle to benefit themselves. Now, there have been football clubs where they've been similar situations. Look, Blackpool in the past, players had to wash their own kit. You know, the owners stopped doing but it was a very different situation, and I don't use that or suggest that to put them in terms of where Reading are now. But you know, as much as you'd be frustrated about that situation, not a lot you can do about it, because again, that is the owner's right, and he's trying to run a sustainable business. However, this is something completely different. This is somebody that suggested, if you'd looked at their past, they didn't have the qualifications to run the business in the first place, let alone kind of find themselves the bastion of a business that revenue-wise generates significant sums of money that then are able to be siphoned off. And
the other problem here, Caroline, that I can see, I mean, you know, fans have paid for a season ticket, other fans want to pay to go and watch and what have you. None of this money is going to go to the club, though, is it? This is where you're just treading water, and there's no way, as Andrew said, been able to put a thumb in the dam.
No, it's like watching a slow-motion car crash that we've been watching for 5 years, and it just carries on. No one knows what this man is thinking, but the fact that he's dissolved another club, a very professional club in Belgium, whilst he's been a custodian at Reading, how is that allowed in the European game for him to be able to remain? You know, this independent regulator, if it does not have the power to revoke licenses or remove bad owners from clubs, as soon as things start happening, there is no point in having it. But obviously prevention's better than cure, and these OADTs need to be spot on.
Well,
but it's just such a mess, and it's devastating, actually. And it just shows we've got to be top of the agenda now in terms of clubs in crisis, and they really need to do something now.
They do, and I'm going to get the boys in the team here. We're going to be getting on to Rick Parry and the rest of them at the Football League. And we've already tried it, and we haven't got anywhere with them at all at any stage. But we'll continue. So, Rick Parry, why don't you have some? Get some. Come on, talk to us. Talk to the people that matter. Talk to Caroline. Talk to those fans that
I'd love to have a chat with Rick. I've got some great ideas for him, and I'm a qualified accountant, so if he wants some ideas in that, then he's welcome to speak to me.
On here, he should come on and talk to us. This is the problem, though. They'll just duck it and run away, because they, in the same way, they don't have any real balls. It's football, but they don't care for real people, and that is one of the major problems. We all care. You care. Your fans care. I care because my team plays in League One at the moment as well. We care for Reading Football Club. I care for a lot. I've had a lot of friends who've been involved with Reading Football Club down the years, supporters as well as players and management and what have you. And it's disgusting. Final word from Andrew before I have a final word from Caroline. Andrew, what next?
Oh, God, I wish it was easy to sum up. But again, what next is the likes of Caroline, the likes of people at the other football clubs should be given a voice and allowed into that room. And again, not having the answers should not be an excuse.
No.
Keep looking. Find them.
And Caroline, you've really done your best. And thank you once again for joining us here. And we all hear you loud and clear.